Yo, what's the deal? I'm back with another video, and today I'm gonna talk about probably one of the most iconic parts on the S2000, which would be the digital gauge cluster. I'm planning on taking it off of the car along with the dash controls to get it sent off to Qube Engineering. This company they do custom LEDs for the S2000 gauge cluster, and also they do a custom color change for stock dash controls on the S2K. I've owned the car for 8 years, and I believe it's time for a change for the gauge cluster. I'm bored of the orange, to be quite honest. And yeah, so like I love the gauge cluster. I always wanted the gauge cluster a different color. I've been contemplating doing this for so long, and now that I'm finally doing the build, this is the perfect time to get it done. I just want to give like a little brief rundown about this company. So Qube Engineering, they do custom gauge clusters, which I think they're pretty cool. And yeah, they do it for the AP1, the AP2. Cool thing about this is that they also do the dash controls. The dash controls, they offer different colors from yellow, green, orange, red, white, blue, you know, colors like that. And they also do a custom multicolor, which I'm personally getting for the gauge cluster. As far as for the dash controls, you can change the color, you can select different colors on their website. They have different options, and they also provide a do-it-yourself option. Since I'm not bold enough to do that myself, and I don't trust myself doing that type of stuff as far as like electrical stuff, so I'd rather just send it off and get it done by them. I might as well just save myself the headache and like trying to take it apart, but hey, to each his own. So yeah, I'm just gonna like show the gauge cluster off real quick and give a before and after, but I'm gonna try my best to pretty much show the process of taking it apart and putting it back together and showing off the end result once I get the gauge cluster back. The stock S2K cluster comes in this orange. I'm pretty much gonna get all this in white. I'm gonna get the digital RPM band from white, and then I think it goes from yellow, orange to red line, and it's gonna be pretty cool. And you know, the dash controls, they obviously come in this color, which is kind of orange, green, and green all the way up for the AC. And so what's gonna change is, instead of, you know, the lights being traditionally orange, like over here this is green, that's gonna be white. So traditionally all these lights are orange. So what I'm gonna get Qube to do is you know, pretty much just change all this to white, give it a white LED light treatment, and hopefully it livens up the interior. And along with the gauge being white, it's gonna look pretty cool because it's something fresh, you know, something new to revive the interior. Obviously goes along with everything that I've been doing so far and with the interior. Eventually I'm gonna start getting closer to the exterior portion of the car, which that's gonna be the exciting part for me because it drastically changes the look of the car. But yeah, nonetheless, yeah, let's get started. All right, since I'm gonna be taking off the gauge cluster, or if you ever take anything off electrical wise on any car, disconnect the battery before anything. That way you don't mess anything up and cause any further damages to your car. Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna disconnect the positive cable. So I'm gonna just have it disconnected, and now I can get started on taking off anything electrical on this car. To get started, you're gonna need a ratchet with an extension, 10mm, 12mm socket, flathead Phillips screwdriver, and some tape, and a flashlight, because you know it's dark in here, so you gotta be able to see. Okay, so the first thing you're gonna wanna do is with a Phillips, you're gonna wanna take out the screw from here, here, and here. Yeah, 3, 1, 2, and 3. This cover should just come off. So you can just pop it off real quick. You want to pull it off carefully. You don't want to break the tabs on it. There you go. All right, so once you already got the cover taken off, so the next step is going to be, we're going to use the 12 millimeter socket, loosen this bolt right here, and also this bolt right here. This should be a little bit slightly loose. And then you take off the top cover, just enough where I could take off this cover. Yeah, there we go. You want to be careful with it. You don't want to doing it in one hand. There we go. And now I'm gonna do the 10 millimeter. It should be right above this knee guard right here, which will be this bolt right here and that bolt right there. Let's see if it focuses. Yeah, this one right here. So what you want to do on this part is that you want to loosen it, not by a lot. You just want to loosen it enough where you can lower the steering column without having to use too much force. As you loosen it, you'll see the steering column lower a bit. I loosened this bolt right here, and on the other side, and hold on, I'm gonna take it out, and it should lower itself just like this. So yeah, so now the next part is gonna be you're gonna tape the blinkers and the windshield wiper switch so you don't scratch them up when you're taking off bezel right here. But first we're gonna have to take off these little screws on the top right here, since we already have the steering wheel lowered. So it should lower itself. Don't pull down on it because you're gonna damage it if you do that. It should be just like this. So the next part, it says remove screw cap covers on here, but it seems like I don't have the screw cap covers, so I'm just gonna use a Phillips and remove the screws. Set those to the side. Pulling up on the corner right here. There we go. You want to pull on the corners on the inside, and then I guess just go along the edges as it pops off, like that. There we go. So it doesn't scratch up. Do the other side. Just enough so it doesn't scratch. And then I guess just pull it towards you. Disconnect that. Let's see if I can pull this up. Okay, so now we got the whole bezel off, so we're gonna set that to the side. So you're gonna want to remove these little screws right here. I loosened them already because they're pretty tight, and I didn't want to scratch the cluster. See those screws? Set them to the side, make sure you don't lose them. Remove this one. So yeah, you're gonna want to pull it forward. Take these little brackets. Take the screws out. These just pop off. I think they slide in one way. There's these connectors on the back. There you go. And that's how the gauge cluster pops off. So now I'm gonna take off the dash controls next. Take off these screws right here that pretty much are on the bezel. Move this one, this bottom one right here. So it's 3 screws. It's 3 screws, and should just pop off. So that's one. There's this little tab right here. It's really hard to see. It's on the inside of the push start, so you kind of, I'm gonna have to put the camera down real quick. What I'm gonna do is just, I'm gonna push down on it. There we go. It should come out. This is the little tab I was talking about. You're gonna kind of press on it and then push it outwards, and then the push start should come out. Now you can take out the control, just like that. I'm gonna package all this, put it in a box, and then send it off to Qube, and then wait for it to come back. So, yep, now I have to play the waiting game as usual. So, but I know it's gonna be well worth it. So that's all that matters. Well, I packaged the gauge cluster and the dash controls, and now it's the waiting game. So I'm gonna wait in the meantime patiently in my car, because I feel like it's the right thing to do. So now I wait. Oh, it's here. It's here. I heard the doorbell. Yes. Yes. Box is here. Qube Engineering, little pamphlet. Instructions, we're gonna definitely need that. The gauge cluster, looks like a fuse connector of some sort. I don't know, we'll find out what it is. Climate control or the audio control, one of these two. And he also sent me back my OEM overlay, which is pretty cool. Let's open this, let's take these out. So, this is the push start and the gauge cluster, the star of the show. Oh, so these are the connectors. It should be fairly simple to put on. All right, so we're gonna have to ground this, that fuse. Right now, I'll put these on. The controls, so let's get started on that. Push that in. You can do the other side. So now we're gonna get to the fun part and put the gauge cluster back on. All right, so now that we have it already here, I'm gonna reinstall these little, you see how this part right here has like a little hook? So this will go in like that. Put the little screws on here. So we got the mountain brackets in place. So before you put this on, make sure you snake this wire right here. Place it behind the gauge clusters. Make these wires kind of, gonna drop them down. We got it snaked through. So we're just gonna let this dangle in for a bit because we're gonna deal with that later. So now we're just gonna attach the cluster on and put everything else together, and then we're gonna save this for the last part. All right, now that you snake the wire through, now the next part is gonna pretty much screw back together the gauge cluster. How about we plug these in first? You gotta hear the snap. Give it one last push inwards. There we go. All right, so once you already have the wires connected, the wire snaked through, the cluster pushed in as much as you can with the holes lined up here. Now, we're gonna put on the bezel. Okay, let's do this first. That's in. There we go. There we go. Everything should just snap into place like so. Yes, sir. I think all that is left is these little screws on the top right here. And then we got two. Almost forgot to put the top cover on this, on the steering wheel. That was my bad. Make sure you put the top part of it first before you tighten anything else on the bottom of the steering column, because it will be hard to put it back in if you don't, even if you try to attempt it. So just to not break the plastic cover, just make sure you put it on first. Cool. So now we can tighten it. These back here as well. All right, so after you tighten the bolts, the four 12s, the four bolts on the top of the steering column, make sure the steering column is nice and tight. So now we still have these wires to deal with. We're gonna take off this panel back here. Now, where did you go? Oh, here it is. All right, so take off the clip that's in the back. Oh, actually, I forgot, I gotta take off this little screw right here. Pop out this little screw right here. All right, take that screw out. Make sure you don't lose that little clip. Oh, there we go, losing the clip. Let's pop off this panel first. The door seal. Back over here. Put that panel to the side. Now we can take this one off. Should come off. Be careful with that hood latch. You don't want to accidentally break it. So on this next part right here, we're going to connect the black wire, which is this one right here, and this is the ground. So on the instructions it says to loosen the 10 millimeter bolt that is on the hood latch. Take the screw off the hood latch. Now I'm gonna put the ground like so. Now this doesn't need to be super tight, just snug. All right, so once you already got the ground hooked up, now the next part is gonna be connecting this little connector right here, which would go, this is gonna go plugged in to one of these connectors, which I connected here. Let me focus. This is being occupied by the footlights. This is the this is the little extra loose wire on the footlights that enables the lights to be ambient when driving. Pretty much when your lights are on, you'll see the footlights turn on and, you know, do their thing as you're driving. So now that you have the ground hooked up and the red wire from the gauge cluster, now is the fun part. Now you wire tuck these and put everything back together. All right, so I pretty much just did the best I could with the zip ties and just, you know, have it nice and tucked. And it's kind of hard, you won't be able to see, especially on the driver's side, as long as it's clean. Now I get to hook up the battery and see how this cluster looks. So I'm excited. I don't know what to expect. I'm hoping to get blown away by the first startup of this. So yeah, let's see this. All right, I plugged up the battery. Now it's the moment of truth. Now we're gonna see what this gauge cluster looks like. This is my first time seeing this. So let's see. Oh man, how bright can this go? Oh, this goes really bright. That's awesome. All right, I think that's good. For daytime driving, it says to program it, the brightness, to have it like this, and then, oh, look at the LED. Look at that. Wow. See? Oh, yeah, the mute button. What about this? The vent. The AC. Oh man, that is awesome. Let's do the lights. That's bright. Wow, that is awesome. Whoa, it gets really bright. Oh, whoa. Man, it's too bright. Turn that down a bit. Wow, that's amazing. Like a completely new cluster. I know it's really hard to see on like how crystal clear this looks on camera, but believe me, this looks extremely crystal clear. Like, wow, I'm impressed. I'm impressed. Man, I'm loving this part right here. This is my favorite part right here. Just the fact that all this is white, looks super modern, looks like very fresh. Oh man, super sick. I found out that apparently the mid-engine Corvettes have this kind of like same tachometer color scheme going on, like the 2022 models, where it goes from white and then yellow and then orange and then to red for red line. I thought that was pretty cool. I didn't even know about that because I've always had this color scheme like on my mind ever since. Like I figured since the car is white, I always wanted the digital gauge cluster in white to pretty much go all the way to red line, yellow, orange, and red. Oh man, I cannot wait to hit the red limiter just to see what it looks like, to be honest. Actually, I might do that just now. Let's do that. No headlights on. Then when you turn the headlights on, gauge clusters turn on, and then this auto dims to your settings. See, if I turn it off, it'll go bright. If I turn on the light, the headlights, go back to bright. Oh, and I also wanted to give y'all an update on the footlights. Obviously, you can see the footlights are at max bright when the doors open. And as of recently, I got one of my friends to wire the little loose wire on the harness up for me. And that's pretty much what I talked about earlier on the video. It's using one of the accessory connectors on there. So as you can see, this is when the doors open. This is this is the footlights when their doors open. It's kind of hard to tell. This is when no headlights are on or anything. So when I turn the headlights on, the footlights get dim, and that's how they look like when the car's running with the headlights on. You can see that. So see, I'm gonna turn off the headlights. Turn it back on. That's the ambient lighting. It's really hard to tell on camera, but it's a very dim light. It's not as bright as it seems, but it is an ambient light that kind of, you know, it goes well with everything that's that I have going on here. So now I'm gonna start some red line footage. So enjoy.